One of the side effects of Prime Minister Justin Trudeau proroguing Parliament is that all bills that were not yet passed have been put on hold. However, Ottawa is still continuing with their changes to the capital gains tax, even though the new tax hasn't been passed into Canadian law and may never be. In a statement, the Canadian Taxpayers Federation accused the Canada Revenue Agency of enforcing undemocratic measure. Joining me now to discuss the tax and its impact is Brendan Caldwell, Director at Caldwell Securities Ltd. Brendan, thank you for joining me.
Well, always good to have a discussion, political or otherwise, Theresa.
Now, despite Parliament being prorogued until late March, the Canada Revenue Agency will continue with their proposed changes to the capital gains inclusion rate. Brendan, could you unpack what these changes are for us?
Well, the good news is it doesn't affect the vast majority of Canadians. So when it was first introduced, that's how it was sold to people. In terms of, it doesn't affect them in terms of the tax they file. What the change actually said was that the amount of capital gains tax that needs to be included on a person's tax return would go up if you have gains of more than $250,000 in a given year, or in the case of 2024, between June the 24th and the end of the year. Doesn't that sound like a lot? So in the sense that very few Canadians will have capital gains of more than $250,000 during that 6 and a wee bit month period, it doesn't affect that many people in terms of the filing. But the Canada Revenue Agency has this policy, if there's something's been introduced into Parliament, even if Parliament's dissolved, that they continue to enforce that as though that is going to become the law. I think the Canadian Taxpayers Federation has a point in that the likelihood of this becoming law, given it ever actually made it to the parliamentary floor and was merely tabled at a committee of the House, it seems like a real stretch. So it remains to be seen what will actually happen. But I can see both sides in this, because normally speaking, when something's introduced in the government, it gets passed. And I think that's maybe the reaction that CRA has without possibly thinking it through entirely.
And how will this decision impact taxpayers?
Well, I think the biggest impact, again, it won't affect many people directly, but it's had a huge impact on the economy. In fact, I think the way it's been done has been how would one say it, a cluster foul up of epic proportions, because it was not included in the last budget. The government had felt it would be a real winner to make the Conservatives vote against it, because they saw this as a wedge issue between older Canadians and younger ones. Unfortunately, younger Canadians apparently can do math and realize it actually affect them and their ability to accumulate wealth far more than it'll affect my generation and older. So it has led to a real slowdown in new issues or financing of junior companies. There's been a real impact without a lot of commensurate increased tax revenue. So I think it's the worst of both worlds right now.
And how will a change in our capital gains tax impact investment in Canada?
Well, again, that's really where we're at, in that the if this does eventually go through, I think it will have a very negative impact. Maybe not in dollar terms, although it will be one of the highest capital gains tax rates in the world, both when you compare the marginal tax rate in Canada of north of 50%, 53 odd percent, and then the 2/3 inclusion rate. It's a big number for a capital gain. So it makes it less attractive to invest in Canada for individuals and corporations. But then the perception is everything. The medium is the message. The perception this is a high tax jurisdiction will probably do more than even the math in keeping investors away.
And how can a financial advisor assist someone in this complicated time?
By trying to being a sounding board, by being somewhat objective. I'm not a tax advisor as such, but in conjunction with our clients' tax advisors, for the clients that would have been affected by this tax or may still be affected by this tax, we took measures prior to June 24th to be able to crystallize some of the gains at the then lower rate, which, given we knew these clients were going to have to crystallize the capital gain in calendar 2024, it was a good move, especially because now they won't have to worry about, do I file at the higher rate? Do I not? Do I hope for a refund? Do I not? That problem's been taken off the table. I think, though, Where we've probably added even more value is by telling clients not to do anything. Generally speaking, investment decisions made for tax reasons tend to be mistakes. So we've tried to settle down our clients from doing too much, really only in the specific circumstances where it could have, if the tax had gone through, been a real benefit because we knew those gains had to be crystallized. Did we suggest or recommend that clients do anything?
Well, Brendan, as always, thank you so much.
Thank you, Theresa.